King Alant XII, by channeling the power of souls, brought unprecedented prosperity to his northern kingdom of Boletaria. That is, until the colorless deep fog swept across the land. Boletaria was cut off from the outside world, and those who dared penetrate the deep fog never returned. But Valarfax of the royal Twin Fangs broke free from the fog and told the world of Boletaria's plight. That the old King Alant had aroused the Old One, the great beast below the Nexus, from its eternal slumber, and that a colorless fog had swept in, unleashing terrible demons. The demons hunt down men and claim their souls. Those who lose their souls also lose their minds. The mad attack the sane, and chaos reigns. Valarfax spoke of the enticing power of the demon souls. Each time a demon claims a human soul, the demon's own soul is invigorated by the life force, and the power of a mature demon soul is beyond human imagination. The legend spread quickly. Mighty warriors were drawn to the accursed land, but none have returned. Bjor of the Twin Fangs, Yurt the Silent Chief, Sage Urbane, Skurver the Wanderer, the Sixth Saint Astraea and her knight Garl Vinland, and Sage Frake the Visionary. The colorless deep fog slowly creeps beyond Boletaria's borders. Humankind faces a slow and steady extinction. The deep fog will eventually swallow all lands near and far. But Boletaria has one final hope. A lone warrior who has braved the baneful fog. Has the land found its savior? Or have the demons found a new slave?
So I noticed at the beginning of the intro, a lot of the artwork was very concept-like. So I looked up a lot of the Demon Souls concept art really quickly, and a lot of the art was made by a third-party illustrator that they hired. Because it's like FromSoft early in their development was really notorious for hiring third-party
who fears not death.
Designers when it came to brainstorming a lot of their concepts.
I shall guide you.
So a lot of the concept art that you see at the very, very beginning is from that one specific artist, Michael Ching Yu Chang.
So
Not all of it.
The
like a lot of the other concept art looks like it wasn't or isn't drawn by him because of the style. This guy has a very, very specific style, so when you look at a lot of the other work, it is sort of like clashes with that style. I could be wrong though. Maybe the guy's super consistent at drawing all over the place with his work. He has an art station. Let me see if it's actually active. Oh yeah, it is. He's gotten way better. Holy smokes. This is him. He did Dark Souls also. That's pretty cool. He did a lot of the concept art for the bosses. Like he did one for Smo, he did one for Tarkus, he did one for several of the NPCs. He even did concept art for Seath, Butterfly. He did Dark Souls 2 concept art as well. Maybe I should, like, put a window so I could actually show it. Some of his work... I think most of his work is pretty PG. But yeah, his work's pretty good. Well, anyway. Unequipped spear. I was doing a no-death run yesterday, but I didn't feel like continuing the New Game Plus run, so it's just more or less me just looking at things as I go through the areas. I suppose what I should do is, like, get another window for OBS, so that way if I wanted to look at stuff that was already discovered by somebody else, I could. Like that, for example, I'm offline, but there's a developer phantom there showing him run through a door, but the door is not open, so it's kind of like, can I go through this door? No, the answer is no. You have to play an earlier build of the game probably to go through that door. Talking stream sounds nice today. Yeah, I'm probably going to be talking a lot. It's mostly me just talking about weird quirks to the game. I was watching EMB earlier, and he made me want to do one of these kinds of things. I don't do them as often as I would like. Like this, for example, this would have been you looping back into the level. It would have been a loading zone, though. Or at least in the earlier version of the game, it would have been a loading zone that you would have just walked into, and it would have loaded the next area. I should try doing a gesture riposte. Let's try. Oh, wrong button. Whoops. Nope. Thanks. Hey, Drunkters. You've seen a part of it? Yeah, I was watching a bit of it. Telling me broadsword was bad. Look at me, I'm using broadsword. I don't have to worry about dying here because you just can't die in the tutorial. I gotta get the timing down for this. Yeah, you can do super fancy parries if you think about it hard enough. But I don't have to worry about dying. They can only take me to 1 health. I'm messing the timing up somehow. I think I'm doing it too soon. Nope. Alright. Yeah, the fanciest parry that I can think of is you doing a jester. You were never able to kill the tutorial bosses, but to be fair, you didn't try it too often. I can give you some tips if you feel like it, Drunkters. It's all about staying on his back. But don't stay, like, glued to his back, otherwise, he'll step on you. There it is. Get waved to death, kid. So, I'm not healing, because, using the Arcstone will just heal me. I should have mentioned... So, this area would have been different. You wouldn't have used an Arcstone, you would have just walked through a door. The door would have taken you to the next area. There would have been different enemies in here too, like the depraved that were from World 5 are in this area. Originally, now they're not. Like, this area is really disconnected from the rest of the game. It doesn't make any sense in any context to the rest of the game. So if you... Where is it? You stand, like, right here or something like that, and then just move the camera a little bit. There's a switch right on the other side of the door here. They just left it here. It's clearly a working switch. There are no non-functioning switches in the game except for that one. So there was at least some intention for the tutorial to be, you know, more significant than it is. Because this is just literally you walking down one end of the hallway to another. There's not really any exploration to be done in this level. It's a really empty tutorial. Huh, so you can do a roll. I watched, yeah, I was watching EMB, so that was where I learned about that. I usually just two-hand R1s, though, because it's funnier that way. Like, originally, I think there was a set of stairs somewhere that you could have used to get through the level as well. Oh, I know where it was. It was back over here. So there's a fog wall coming up, and when you turn right, you go down a set of stairs and find some grass. And there would have been an open door right there that you would have used to follow the level down. And then here we see a cauldron, just sort of like boiling, with a lot of you know, gunk and stuff in it. Really never understood what this cauldron's supposed to be for, other than probably for the Vanguard, but Vanguard doesn't make any sense. Or he doesn't make any sense in the room, is what I mean. Like, his placement in that room is weird. He's too big to fit in the room. Or he's too big to fit into the door. So it's like, how did you guys get him in there? Here's the door. See, you would have walked through here. This portcullis wouldn't be here. You would have just walked through, and you would have been able to go back down and even explore other portions of the fortress. But no, you don't get that here. No tutorial. There would have been a ladder somewhere too. Like, I know in an earlier build, they put the hitbox and the object for the ladder, and you could have actually interacted with it. But the ladder would have been invisible, and you would have never been able to see it. And the broadsword is a weird weapon when I think about it. Still triggers me that EMB thinks this weapon is bad. Well, maybe you should be upgrading your weapons, EMB. Fighting Flame Lurker with a +4 broadsword and then complaining that you think the weapon is bad. Then again, he was fighting Flame Lurker at a really low level. Like, you know, every time you level up in this game, your character gains defenses. So, like, when you hit a certain level threshold, it takes a little bit more for Vanguard to kill you. When he hits you, anyway. Oh yeah, and then again, also, you'll see white phantoms in this room, even though there's no, you know, I'm still offline. And they're doing weird things too, like, they're interacting with the room in a way that doesn't make sense for the room. Like, this guy is clipping through a wall over here, firing arrows. And then that guy's just sort of like rolling and then like spamming attacks. Weird too is that phantom usually never appears over there. He's usually like right here in the middle of this crevice. But yeah, like I said, Drunkters, if you ever fight the tutorial boss, stay behind him and hug his left, go to the left. Just circle strafe him left. Because most of his attacks come from the left. So if you go underneath every single one of his attacks, you usually will not get hit. And then, like I was saying earlier about level differences, there wouldn't have been a wall right here. You would have just walked right through from the Vanguard's boss room to this room. But for some reason they changed it, so now you just teleport here. You can teleport. I don't know what the deal is with that. Plus the Dragon God has a different style to him. He looks completely different too. He has like, his eyes are squint. Like he looks like he's permanently pissed off here for some reason. And then of course you get a, I feel like the killing the tutorial boss in this game is more beneficial than killing Vanguard early. Because when you kill Vanguard early, or not Vanguard, I meant like Asylum Demon like Dark Souls. Because you know, Asylum Demon is essentially Vanguard 2.0. But when you kill him early, you know, like by getting firebombs or something and chunking them at him, all you get is his weapon. And the weapon's not bad, it's just that it takes a while to be able to use his weapon. But here, when you kill the Vanguard, you get a lot of healing items, you get souls that you can use to upgrade your stuff, and you also get upgrade materials. So there's actually an incentive to kill the tutorial boss here. It may not be that much of an incentive because due to the nature of the game. Also, I just died in a cutscene. It's the only Souls game that does that. But if you quit out real quick, if you close out if you hit X to clear out the prompt that you died, you can go into your inventory. It seems like this is the most reliable way to do this. There are multiple, like, I've definitely died to a boss before just to see if you could actually do this. You can, but it's much harder to do it when you die regularly. If you do it for here, for some reason, it's more reliable. There's not really any reason to do it also, unless you want to, like, I don't know, reload your character. Because you see here, game hasn't been recording time. It doesn't record time for some reason. So that way when you, what's the word? When you reload the character, you're gonna load back into the second area of this place. So anyway, just quit out. Let the game continue. I get a full heal too, of course. But I also get my health cut in half. I remembered watching a speed run, like the current world record for this game. Somehow the guy skips the tutorial and he comes out with full health. From what I remembered. It was very strange. I didn't even know that was a thing. He did something to make it give him full health. I don't know what. But it is what it is.
But I would be... When the scourge came, I abandoned my wife and daughter and fled like a madman. When I came to, I was in the Nexus.
Somebody was also talking about the old monk and how his story seems to mirror that of a Lovecraft story. Didn't even know that. Something about a king in yellow or something like that.
That candle maiden cared for me during my first days in the Nexus.
And the fact that yellow in this game seems to represent the same kind of decadence and greed that it did in that one story.
The poor girl.
I'll have to look a little bit more into it. That sounded pretty interesting. Like, I have a collection of Lovecraft that I've been reading through very slowly. So there's nothing for me to deposit at the moment.
Best of luck to you.
You new here? Do you hear from our services? The name's Baldwin.
Apparently, there's a bit of dialogue that Bjor
It's simple. Just bring me all the souls you can.
has also. Like, if you say Bjor, but you don't say Yuria, he'll say a line about Yuria being locked in a tower.
Your souls,
I don't know if I've ever seen that dialogue or not, but apparently you gotta do it a certain way to get it.
you can go on living. Not a bad deal, huh?
And then this guy's voice is used, like, in several places in the game. He voices so many characters.
Perhaps you've already heard, but there's another blacksmith at the entrance of Stonefang Mine. He's an eccentric old man, but he knows his trade well. He's the only sane one left in a town of soul-starved men. If you do meet him... Yeah, well, forget it. That stubborn old ne'er-do-well will just ignore you. There aren't enough blacksmiths in this temple to handle all the work. Only certain ores can be used to forge weapons, but you just have to make do.
That's kind of
thankful
surprising.
that I'm still of good health.
Oh, it's the wrong one. Okay. Wow, Wikidot's not acknowledged at all. Do I want to upgrade? Nah.
No interest, eh? I can tell you're not gonna last long here.
Yeah, never mind. I'll use the broadsword just as a...
And with your...
I'll just use the broadsword. I don't really, Oh, right. You only get enough... When you start with this character, for some reason, you don't get enough to upgrade both sets of equipment. I clearly killed everybody as I went through, but for some reason, you just don't get as much for killing them all.
Duke.
Or I think the broadsword requires more souls for upgrading. I don't know. Should have read the monumental stones or the arc stones because they always offer a little bit of backstory. Wonder what this castle is based off of. From Software was like another thing about From Software is that a lot of their level design is based off of real life places. Like, you know, take for example Anor Londo. Anor Londo being very based off of a specific cathedral in Milan. Like, you'll even look at the front of the main door and you'll see the resemblance. So I'm more willing to I'm more inclined to believe that they base this off of a real place. Though I imagine they probably extrapolated a bit on the dimensions to make the place more navigable, I guess is navigable? Navigable? Is that the word I'm looking for? They were in the middle of a siege. They had all their dudes sitting out here waiting for something to happen. And yet there's nothing actually here. Just a bunch of dead things, a bunch of dead horses, a couple of dead dudes, fire everywhere, and just them standing around with vacant looks in their eyes because, you know, they've lost their humanity or their souls, so they went mad. Because, you know, the demons, they came through and they stole everything or something. I will admit, the broadsword doesn't have as much power as the regular longsword. It's like 2 points short. Or 3 points short, something like that. It's like just 3 points short. If it was like a +2, I would be killing everything with one R2. I feel really sorry for these draglings because they're wearing armor that looks like it's just made out of table scraps. Oops. Then again, my armor set's supposed to be the same armor set that the knights in this area wear. At least I think. Let me check. Commonly used by soldiers. Yeah, I'm wearing the same armor set as most of the soldiers are in this area. Except I'm a lady, so my armor looks a bit different. Crows everywhere. I like that little detail. They're just sort of like sitting here watching from above. And I'm a ghost. Yeah, I am also a ghost. Plus that. This little part is weird. You just see these little souls gesturing right here. I think it's just to let you know that the only way you would know you die is if you fell down there by accident. I mean, it looks like a death drop anyway. Though you could clearly roll over there if you tried hard enough, but it's a kill box no matter what you do. It's unfortunate, really, because you can get to Meralda really quickly if you were able to. I remembered somebody making a video going into detail about these standards. When I say standards, they're like they're flags that you use to represent your standing within a specific military group, like nation specifically. But I don't think there's enough information to tell you what these flags are supposed to be. There's a couple of them all over the place. See, like, now you see these right here, and these look like they're for Boletaria, but then you see the red and yellow ones all the way back there, and you don't know what those are for. But you see these more so, you see this symbol everywhere else, but you don't see the other ones anywhere, from what I remembered anyway. Ah, I was hoping to get both of them. Maybe from local garrison? Yeah, that could be it. Because the part of Boletaria that we're in isn't actually the part where the citizens live. This is actually where most of the army lives. It's where most of the army would have been stationed. This is like the inner workings of Boletaria. So you're not going to see normal people here. You're going to see mostly soldiers and knights. I was always thinking about that every time I come through here. It's like, why is it the way that it is? It's like, oh, that's why. This is the thoroughfare on the way to the main castle. The main city for Boletaria is outside of the limits of this castle. I think it kind of says a lot about the construction of the castle. It's like, you would think the castle would be used to protect the citizens, but nah, not really. There's no citizens here. Mostly just soldiers. And one dude that actually lived through the entire thing, because he has a he had a mindset that said, I need to survive this. The Dregling Merchant. It would have been cool if he actually had a name. A lot of the characters in the game just don't have names. Like the Filthy Man, the former Royal's wife. Who else? Obviously, Dregling Merchant. Oh, the Filthy Woman, too. The Filthy Woman in World 5. She also doesn't have a name. You can roll over this boulder. You can even do it fat rolling. I did that so that the guy would come down here. Because if you go up there, you're going to get pelted in the back of the head. There's a crossbow guy that stands up there, and he's pretty crack shot. He can shoot you from the other side of the room. It's really irritating, I gotta say. He has that good aim, or he has EU aim. That guy can drop his sword. I would very much like him to, because the Knight Sword is pretty much the highest damage straight sword there is in the game. With exception to maybe the Blue Blood Sword if you upgrade it enough. So there was supposed to be a knight there, but he's not there. Is that him? Did I forget an item? No, I got them all. Okay. Weird. Must have ran past him and didn't think to pick up his loot. Uh-oh. I forgot about these guys, though. I would like to give some free turpentine, please. Okay, thanks. Ow. One thing about the broadsword is it's kind of slow. I'll probably end up just switching to the keylage. Keylage is really fast. Funny, too, is that you can actually hear these guys walking around up here. Plus, I'm pretty sure this guy's placed here very strategically so that you're lured over there. But I don't need to go over there because I can't even open the door. Plus, a red-eyed knight. No thanks. Let me just stand right here and let these guys kill themselves. Or not. That one guy usually always gets around now. I think they're locked on to me the moment I walk over here. It's kind of a interesting thing to see now that he more often than not. Oh, he fell off. Okay. He didn't die either. Yeah, they're both still alive. They're both running the wrong way. So if you just stand here on the first step, you can make them conga line. Whoa! Several of them are still alive. What's this about? What? You're still alive! Why? In the world? Clean grain, extra health. Oh, I left one of these dudes with an item. Yeah, deadliest being on the planet. Every single Souls game has a torch hollow in it. They're usually pretty buff. Even Dark Souls 2, and I don't like Dark Souls 2. More armor? No, I can't wear more armor yet. Okay. Anybody dropped any turpentine? No. Guess I'm not gonna get lucky with the turpentine drops. You can totally sweet trick rolls over the wall here. Get down to Ostrava.
What on earth are you doing?
Using you as my my meat shield. It's not that he has a lot of health. It's more like, I think it's more like his defenses are just higher when he's not aggro to me. The moment you aggro him to you, you start doing more damage to him. Plus, he doesn't get aggro from the enemies attacking him. He's like unique in that regard. Like, you can use the other enemies to attack NPCs in the, you know, the levels and stuff. But if it's a Straba, for some reason, he just doesn't aggro to you. Like, you know, like in Dark Souls, the game blames you for anything that happens to NPCs, regardless of whether or not you did it. But, yeah, Ostrava is kind of cool in that regard, I guess. He didn't die. Heal a bit. See if we can get the claymore. Nope. He gave me light moon grass. That's always nice. Scimitar. Kicked his body. I like that. Soul that's here. Time to go blow some dudes up. We got extra fire bombs for this. Pretty nice. Got most of them. The idea here is not to lure the first guy. We need him to stand there for as long as possible, so that way he'll get caught in the explosion too. Ooh, a slave shield. Let's read the lore, shall we? A shabby wooden shield used by slave soldiers. Made only of collected wood shavings, it is merely a substitute. In all honesty, calling this a shield is somewhat dubious. Sounds about right. No broken swords, though. I think my PS3's starting to go in the fritz. I noticed a lot of weird graphical aberrations. Guillotine axe? No. Guillotine axe is really good. I love how you can just casually walk past these dudes when they do that. Because everybody does it. Everybody and their mom tries to do a running attack at you when you're standing right on their tippy toes. Except him. Huh. Well, he must have heard me. I guess we can go to the NPC that's over here. Never really talked to him, so... You're supposed to normally come through the other way, but I didn't, so... Stuff like that. First halberd user you see in the level. I think he's actually the only halberd knight in this level. I could be wrong, though. There's probably one on the bridge that he gets burned, so I never really interact with him.
Good day to you. Care to look over my wares? Mostly stolen, but who's telling ye?
Not me. Mum's the word.
Be a brave knight or depraved slave, the demons will snatch your soul, and you'll go mad. And those who dare cling to their humanity are hunted down. It is the end of great Boletaria, as we know it.
Ooh, my wrist.
But hell,
popped
at least
really
the demons
loud.
don't send us to our deaths in battle. There's this skinny fella, clad in fabulous armor, who's always mumbling about some mission. He's another one who's managed to stay sane like yourself. Probably some pampered son by the looks of his attire. I'd give an arm just for the buttons off his shirt.
And then, yeah, he sells pretty much everything that a knight would have dropped in this level, with exception to, I think, the halberd. Yep. He even sells clubs. Nobody in the game seems to use these. Except for the giant depraved ones. I don't think there's any enemy in the game that actually drops clubs. You know, let me look that up. Quick field trip. Souls Wikidot. I have Wikidot open in case I needed to refer to something. Blunt, I think is what this would be. Club. Hey! No. Nobody drops it. Nobody drops clubs. That's kind of surprising. I'm gonna check something else too. Axes. Okay, so they do. The Axe Knights in 1-3 drop giant great axes. And then of course the Crescent Axe can be dropped by the Fat Officials. Guillotine Axe can be dropped by a soldier in this level. Only the ones with the axes, obviously. But then regular soldiers can also drop battle axes as well. Kind of weird how inconsistent you would think some of the loot tables are in this game.
I'm not going anywhere.
Because one type of knight has the capability of dropping 2 different kinds of weapons. Like this guy, he can't drop his axe from what it looks like. He can't drop the battle axe even though he's clearly using it. He can only drop a guillotine axe. But neither of them are going to drop it because it's kind of a rare drop. In fact, the one that I've seen drop it the most consistently was the one that I backstabbed. Or the one you can backstab, but I didn't. Because I wasn't that good at getting up behind him. That guy hears sound really, really well. No knight sword for me. Watch him drop something. No? Okay. Almost. Wanted to do a running attack. Sometimes your hitbox overlaps there, so you'll end up catching a ball to the face somehow, even though you're nowhere near it. It's kind of weird. And then a safe way to deal with these guys is just make noise right here. It always catches one of them. Can he kick? I want to see if this guy can actually kick shields. Doesn't look like he can. Yeah, he can't kick. The spear variety of enemies in World 1-3 can, but he can't for some reason. It's like, huh. Alright, now we're gonna go get some items. I always get them, but I'll get all of them for once. Because this is, you know, gonna be one of those runs where I just sort of like casually go through everything, explaining stuff. You're supposed to come back over here in like pure white world tendency because the dragons disappear. I did it too fast. We gotta wait for the dragon to blow fire. Otherwise otherwise he'll just go away and go back to his perch. So many shields. A lot of this castle doesn't really make any sense. A lot of the castle is just inaccessible to you, even though it's like, so what's the point of a lot of these walls and you can't even get to them, some of them. There we go. Second you see him blow fire, start running. And just run all the way down here. Keep running, but don't let your stamina deplete completely. Big ass shield. I don't remember who can drop these shields. There's an enemy in the game that can drop a purple flame shield. I think it's the red-eyed knights that are in front of the penetrating boss fog. But I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm definitely sure I've seen an enemy drop that shield before. I generally never kill the red-eyed knights in front of the penetrator because there's too many of them. So I always throw a soul remain for them. A couple items. Soldier's Lotus. Dang it. I was hoping I'd get my shield up fast enough. I knew from that distance it probably wasn't going to help. I'm wearing the Thief's Ring, so these guys are going to have trouble spotting me now. Thief's Ring is stupid good. I had to mute myself because I had a sneeze coming on. And then the boss, like a dummy, throws his weapon away. No idea why. He just jettisons his weapon. I guess it's supposed to be like a warning or something. Hey, you're not supposed to see me immediately. There we go. Yeah, just making sure. I didn't recall picking up any other turpentine. Okay. Hey, that's all right. We can just stand right here. Do the same thing with these guys. They're kind of stupid when it comes to pathfinding. They'll off themselves for us. It's pretty nice. Oh, they didn't off. They're still alive. Clever boy. They should have been offed. Wow, barely did any damage to him that drop. I think the other one's still alive too. No, never mind. He fell, I think, all the way to the bottom. I don't see his body anymore. Yeah, there he is. So these guys are more or less supposed to just let you know what the boss is up ahead. Big giant pile of black goo with a bunch of spear dudes protecting him. He's supposed to be Longbow Ulan based on where he is and how he fights, but there'll be a red phantom that shows up later that's a lady, even though Ulan is clearly specified as a guy. It's kind of weird. You don't actually see the boss until you walk in. The boss is completely unloaded until you hit the gate. Hella weak to fire in new games. He's still weak to fire in subsequent new games, but they just have more HP in the new game. Plus. Like, fire is doing maybe 90% of my damage here. It's just how good fire is against this boss. See if we can get some sharp shots. Hey, it's that DS1 thing. Yeah, I know, right? The only thing you can use this boss's soul for is a scraping spear. The scraping spear is only good for PvP though. It doesn't actually break any, it won't break enemy AI gear and stuff like that. It only breaks other players' gear. As much as I would like to use the scraping spear to kill people, kill bosses with. Ah, I didn't mean to skip that. That's a force of habit, really. Alright, well, we need to go up here. Only way to open the other arc stones to talk to the monumental. This tiny little baby kid that's like doing a Buddha pose or something. I didn't realize it's like, it's an entire person's body underneath that outfit of his. But he's like kneeled over or doing his Quan pose. Doesn't look like it though. I mean, like, you look at him and you can't tell because it looks like his body is missing a portion of himself. Let me see here. If I look at him really closely with the magnifying. Yeah, you can see his fingers. He's got hands. They don't move. In fact, his eyes are kind of creepy. In fact, his mouth is open. Look at this kid.
We have long awaited you, Slayer of Demons.
He's the one that this
one
kid's
of
the
the
one that speaks to
monumentals
you at the very beginning,
who
after the
preserve
narrator.
The fabric of reality. There is something thou needest to know.
And as we go along
Once,
into the run,
we too,
I'll show you
a
just how
scourge of
incredibly
demons faced.
the guy prefaces everything like you're trying to help him, but in actuality,
In the
the
distant
the
past,
conditions on which he forces you
under
to help him
benevolent rule, the world
call
was
his
united,
morality into question.
owing to the soul arts. Until a lustful
Yeah, I mean,
power
yeah, the world is
caused
very
the
dire
awakening
and
of the
things
Old
are in a
One.
very bad situation.
Across
But
the
he
land
forcibly
seeped a colourless, deep fog,
he forcibly kills you,
and the world
binds you to the
faced
Nexus,
extinction
and then won't
at
let
the
you
hands
leave
of
until
the
you kill all the
demons.
demons. You're bound to the Nexus until you kill
Thanks be,
you put the
we were
arc,
able to
you put
lull
the old one back to sleep.
back to his
Because you
slumber.
can't kill the old one, because the
Yet
old one
only
is
after
literally
the
God.
loss of innumerable
Can't kill
souls,
God in this game,
and
unfortunately.
half the world lost, erased by the fog.
That's not an option for some reason.
In order
You have
to
two
mend
endings. You
the
can make the
fabric
old
of
one
what
go back to
land
bed, or
still
you
remained,
can kill the
we
maid in
entrusted
black and
6
take her
elders
place.
with 6 precious archstones. One to the king
Or
of a small,
not take
yet
her place
diligent
necessarily, but kill
land. One to the
Alant
king
and take his
of the
place, because
burrows
that's what Alant
underground.
is at the end of the day. He is the literal
One to the wise
head
queen
demon. I guess
of the great
there are
ivory
archdemons,
tower.
and then there's Alant. I don't know what Alant's
One to the chieftain
name is supposed to
lost
be
and
in accordance to
ill-fortuned
that
souls.
hierarchy.
One to the shaman of the tempest worshipping shadowmen.
Oh yeah, and
And
of course
last,
now he's referring
the
to
great giants
everybody in the
of the
world got an
northern land.
Arkstone shard, or a bit of an Arkstone, which
The
is
Archstones
connected to the
were
Nexus,
placed at nodes
which is
across the
connected
earth.
to the binding of
We contained the old one inside this
the
nexus.
maiden.
and banned the
She's
full
like a
arts.
demon that's separate from Alant
we
in
became
duty and
monumentals.
power. She
Half
may be
living
as powerful
sentinels
as he
of the
was at
fabric
some
of
point, but it
reality.
seems like at some point Alant got corrupted to the point that he was like just a
Alas,
shell of his former
The
self.
other monumentals have perished.
Former self. And then
only I
Maiden in Black
remain.
is like this weird, unspoken about demon that nobody really seems to know much about other than like a couple of people. Like everybody seems to be well aware that it was King Alant that roused the
Now it is your
old
turn.
one back from his slumber.
You must lull the old one back to its slumber.
And that
seal
the
it
old
away
one is
for
literally
all
an
eternity.
unkillable immortal being
If
that
not,
is completely
deep
separate from
fog
the realm
will
of
absorb
the
all
fabrics
that
of
we know.
reality and
Have you
understanding.
strength to accept
Almost
this
like
mission?
he's a Lovecraftian nod. Like he's just on this plane of
Yes.
existence that
We are
nobody
fortunate
knows
indeed
about.
to have you.
Nobody knows its
Now,
intentions truly.
Go forth and destroy every
Though I
last
think
demon.
That at the beginning of the
old
game,
one,
if you let the
without
game sit long
demons
enough,
to
you'll
feed
see
its
like
souls, Will a new servant seek?
what is
and
the word
lure
that I'm
you
looking
to its
for?
bosom?
It's like those modes that you see at the beginning of fight games. Like when you go into an arcade, when you sit at, I think it's like, I can't remember the word, but it's like a bit of dialogue at the very beginning of the game when you don't let the game play. Yeah, eye catch mode. Something like that, yeah. And when you see the beginning of the game, there's like a bit of lore at the very beginning. Let me see here. I think it was like on that day or something along those lines. I'd have to look it up because or I could just let it play out again. I didn't actually read it when I started. Like on the first day, almost like it was a preface for a Bible. Something like that. You'll notice that he's not the only monumental. He is technically the only monumental alive. All the other monumentals are dead. But I couldn't tell. I mean, when you look at these guys, they don't look like corpses. Nobody looks corrupt. There's nothing like decaying here. They all look just straight up lifeless and inanimate. Almost like they're supposed to be these immortal beings, but they all just died. And this isn't the only floor. There's a second floor down below that has more of them. He's the only one that's alive. I guess that's supposed to let you know that this is a very, very dire situation. He's completely out of options, so that's why he binds you to the Nexus, because, you know, at the beginning of the game, it prefaces that one hero, Valorfax of the Twin Fangs, somehow got out of the Grey Mist to tell everybody outside of Boletaria that there was a problem happening in Boletaria, and like 5 other people, besides you, obviously, came in to investigate. Several of which nobody heard from again. Why did I heal? I don't know. You don't have to heal, because when I leave, I'm going to get a full heal anyway. I'm trying to remember who all they were, because the game specifies they're all people that you're going to meet. Let me see here. Okay, so I'm reading the manual. It only gives me a part of what the monumental actually says. It doesn't say what the narrator says, because the narrator tells you the people that came in before you, like Main Estraya, Sage Frake, Urbane, not only Estraya, but her knight Garvinlin as well. There was a couple of others. Can't remember them as well. So while you're investigating the current state of the world, you end up finding out what actually happened to the other people who ventured into the Grey Fog. She didn't even mention Ostrava from what I remembered. He's not even mentioned at all. In fact, only a couple of NPCs actually directly refer to Ostrava. Which is kind of strange, considering Ostrava's kind of prevalent to Boletaria's plot. Because it's like all the worlds are cut off separately from one another. And the game even treats their plot as such. Like, maybe a couple of the NPCs actually have direct reference to one another. Like Frake will directly refer to Yuria, Bior will directly refer to Yuria, but Bior won't refer directly to Frake. They only refer to like specific NPCs. So a lot of the NPCs felt kind of like disjointed in the way that they interacted with one another. Because like you're not going to see, now that I think about it, you're not going to see 2 NPCs interact with one another in this game. They just don't. They'll refer to one another, but they won't ever speak directly to one another. And I think that's just a limitation of From Software at that point. I think that was like one of those I'm not even sure if they ever even experimented with the idea about like an NPC directly speaking to another NPC. Anyway, you can use the Grey Demon Soul to get the Dozer Axe. Stupidly heavy axe. It's not a bad axe. It just has no scaling. I guess it's like the equivalent to the mace that or whatever the hell it is, the demon's great hammer that the silent demon drops when you kill him the first time. Except that one actually scales. I mean, you can buff the Dozer Axe. So it's not too bad. It's just that the weapon is so unbelievably heavy, there's not really any incentive to use it, I think.
I can forge weapons for you, but
Do come back alive.
Then may I ask, would you mind giving
I forgot.
up that hairpin?
I blew all of his dialogue,
like
so
to
when I
have
came
his
back to
in
him,
memory of my
he would
daughter.
ask for the hairpin.
You're a saint. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I mustn't forget. It's not much, but please accept this as thanks. I'm a bit ashamed to say, but I found it one day, discarded on the main road. But it seems to possess a strange power. Anyway, I feel that you should have it. It will be happier in your hands. I would be happy to, if only so.
Okay.
Best.
I forgot how many... So every time you kill a boss, the NPCs in the Nexus gain extra dialogue. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure some dialogue is only linked to specific killings of bosses.
For failing to show proper respect to King Alant. Oh, Mbasa.
Plus, the Nexus was locked prior to me killing the Phalanx. The moment I killed the Phalanx and all the Arkstones opened up, 5 new NPCs show up in the Nexus. All the clerics, and then... Wait, no, Freyk isn't there, so it's just Freyk's apprentice over there.
Back in the time that I lived below Boletaria Castle, King Alant left on some strange business, then returned with horrible demons in tow. Soon, the land was ravaged by demons and soul-starved madmen. My spine shudders just to think about it. If I did not have my miracle stone shard, a keepsake of my grandfather, I may not have survived.
Her description of how the events happen is actually one of the best ways to learn firsthand what more or less took place from her perspective. Because there are multiple people that tell you Alant had something directly to do with the Grey Fog. So it's always nice that they use a lot of the NPC's exposition to establish something that's not clearly explained. Like, they say what more or less happened, but they never clearly state what actually happened. Plus, this also makes me think of Berserk for some reason. There was like a similar thing that happened at the very beginning of the comics life cycle. How Guts, the main character, arrives in a town and people talk to him about how the leader of that specific town changed one day and how he took on like this weird demonic presence.
If I did not...
Makes me really think heavy about Berserk. Like, I know Demon Souls and Souls games in general were heavily inspired by Berserk, plus other things. Like, if I remember correctly, Miyazaki stated very clearly that Demon Souls itself wasn't actually based directly off of any games, but it was heavily inspired by a lot of Western fantasy stuff. Like, what else? What else was it? Conan the Barbarian was one of them.
I have seen.
He was very inspired by
I swore
that movie.
allegiance to Saint Urbain, but was of no use.
And who else? Frank Frazetta, the artist, the guy who's known for drawing artwork very, very reminiscent of Conan the Barbarian. A lot of very strong-looking ladies that he drew. And then, of course, Guts, a lot of Japanese manga, stuff like that.
You must be another disciple.
He was also really, really into.
I too am on a quest
he's also
to
really,
fight the
really
demons
into
in the name of the Lord.
Might and
May I
Magic,
share God's power
Dungeons
with
and
you?
Dragons, stuff like
Do
that. A
not
lot
be
of the
bashful.
game's main
We are
mechanics
both cut
are
from
based
the same
around
cloth.
mechanics that you would have seen in like a Dungeons and Dragon character sheet.
A miracle is a heavenly act, but spells
But
are
that's
the acts
most of the obvious
demons.
stuff.
The work
Like most of the stats
so
that you get when you level up in this game are
They have
stripped
similar effects,
stripped directly
and
from a
yet
Dungeons and
one
Dragons sheet.
is clearly evil, and the other is clearly good. Magicians, in the end, are mere servants of the demons.
I like the fact that he's immediately saying, "Oh, mages! If you decide to join my group, mages are evil. Nothing good is gonna come from magic." But then you'll learn later that magic and miracles come from the same source. All right, so he has nothing else to say.
I see. I pray.
And then I should have let him finish. Let me see here. So he gives basic miracles. I have one attunement slot, I think, because of my the soldier starts with enough faith that I can. Yeah, I got one attunement slot, so.
I see. You wish to train yourself in stoicism. Very well. I pray we meet again.
Let me see here. So, according to Wikipedia, Stoicism is a school of Hellenistic philosophy founded by Zeno in Athens, heavily influenced by the teachings of Socrates, while Stoic physics are largely drawn from the teaching of the philosopher Heraclitus. Predominantly a philosophy of personal ethics informed by a system of logic and views of the natural world. See, when I heard him say Stoicism, I thought he was referring to the nature in which you recite miracles. You have to essentially, the way miracles are, used in this game, you chant something, and the miracle is supposed to happen as a result of saying a specific verse. But here, it's more like referring to virtue is the only good. Let's see. Stoics are especially known for teaching that virtue is the only good for human beings, and that external things such as health, wealth, and pleasure are not good for or bad for themselves. Huh. But value as material for virtue to act upon. But value as material for virtue to act upon. Okay. Virtue is sufficient for happiness. So the idea here is, I kind of find it weird that he said it like that. I see you wish to practice in Stoicism. Kind of strange that he's referring to a Hellenistic philosophy when he says that. Considering, Greece doesn't exist here. What else? We can talk to Blue Boy.
Have you met the last surviving monumental? Those fools revived the old one on a whim.
I forgot to speak to him the moment I got in here too. He has a cutscene.
In a desperate attempt to undo
the moment you walk in. The way that he is deliberately placed in front of you, he stands out like a sore thumb. I'm pretty sure the developers wanted people to interact with him. I mean, there's a story reason why he's a Blue Phantom as well.
Still alive? I am impressed. This is something that might interest you. The Black-Robed Maiden of the Nexus looks after the flames. She's a morose type, with eyes occluded by wax. She can control
melancholic or gloomy, that's what morose means.
Bring her the souls of men and demons, and she would embolden your flesh and blood with their power.
I would have almost said sympathetic, but sympathy means that you feel for them somehow. Alright. I always forget to mention this little offshoot right here, but if you walk down these steps, shit ton of developer messages just like crammed here in the very bottom. This part right down here doesn't really make any sense structurally to me, but then again, it's a Nexus. A Nexus doesn't really make any sense. Pay attention to the tendency of the world's souls. Tendency is closer to white, demons' powers are weakened. Tendency is closer to black, demons will pose more of a threat. Now, I'm not really sure how much of more of a threat, but I'm pretty sure that has to just do with how much demons, how much damage they do in pure white world, or pure world tendencies and stuff. Let me check this real quick. I usually refer to Wikidot. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So, Black World Tendency has the following effects. Enemies have more HP, attack, and defense. They drop more souls, and they're more likely to drop rarer items because, you know, most of the enemies in the game have like this one rare item that they only drop. And then, of course, in Black World Tendency, you also get unique named Black Phantoms that show up. They don't show up, they show up only in pure Black World. And then, of course, Primeval Demons, which show up like one tick away. They start showing up one tick away from pure Black World. And then, of course, your maximum HP is also cut in half when you're in soul form. And, what is it? Let's see. I'm trying to remember just how much, if you're in pure Black World, if you're in soul form, when you're not wearing the cling ring, you have less active HP, is what I mean to say. Like, if you're wearing the cling ring, you have more active HP, clearly, but you'll have even less so than normally. Because normally, in, like, Gray World Tendency, your HP is cut in half. But in, like, Black World, it could, I think it's somewhere between 25 to 30%. Rather than the standard 50%. Oh, here it is. There's a guide for it down here at the bottom. World Tendency and available HP. So if your character is a neutral World Tendency, at pure Black World Tendency, you have 45% active HP when you're in soul form. Okay, so that's not that big a difference. I thought it was going to be a bigger difference. And then, of course, as you get towards White World Tendency, your HP goes back up to 50%. But you also have character tendency, which also will intrinsically affect how much active HP you have, which is kind of one of these mechanics that you'd have to data mine a lot just to figure out a lot of these stuff. That's why I'm referring to a guide. Because, yeah, your character tendency also affects, like, apparently the lowest your HP can get to in soul form is like 40.5, which is noticeable if you're you have a black character tendency. Because if you look at my HUD, the two eyeballs at the top left and top right, the one on the left is my character tendency and the one on the right is the world tendency. The Nexus has no world tendency. Nothing changes about the world tendency here. I think maybe it'll affect your HP, but that's about it if you're like in soul form. But other than that, there's nothing that happens here. All the other worlds have unique events that happen in White World and pure Black World. And then, of course, like I said, these messages are just poorly placed here. They're just thrown here, I guess, mostly to be a guide for the player. Maybe if you don't have the manual, because a lot of the stuff that the game doesn't tell you about can be found here. It tells you about your bloodstain and the nature of other players' bloodstains. Phantoms are warriors of another world, much like the ones you fight in now. So there's the explanation for the white phantoms. And you must use a talisman to use miracles. You must equip a catalyst to use spells. And at least the game is very deliberate about labeling in this game, because everything that is a catalyst will be labeled as such. So it's very clear and straight to the point what kind of stuff is usable, or what the stuff is used for in this game. I noticed a lot of the lore descriptions for some of the unique stuff. They're very few and far between. A lot of the unique weapons have explanations for them, But like if you get like a broadsword or something like a bastard sword, the weapon will just tell you what the weapon is good for. It won't give you anything interesting unless it's like one of these. Like the slave shield, for example. It even tells you a little bit about the purple flame shield, but other than telling you that it's... We have no idea why it's able to reflect fire so well. Just does. Oh, that reminded me. Let me see this. I need to look up the shield for this again. I'm pretty sure the spear guys dropped this shield. Yeah, Red-Eyed Knight. The Red-Eyed Knight with the spears can drop this shield. Not always, but they can drop it. But they can also drop a knight shield, a spike shield, and a kite shield. And then, of course, they can drop their spear as well. They mostly just drop full moongrass, though. Or the one in the one in 1-1 can drop new moongrass as well. Huh, that's a pretty good idea to farm for them, I guess, if you felt like it. A lot of strategy built around trying to fight that one knight. Huh. Alright, so let us see here. Do I have anything unique on my person? This one, maybe. A rare... Okay, so this is a telescope that Ostrava gave us. It's supposed to let you know that Ostrava's not from around here. A rare craft which used warp glass to allow the user to see far off distances clearly. It's most likely an item from the comparatively advanced region, Solum Boletaria. We'll find an armor set similar to the... We'll find the exact same armor set he wears on a corpse in 3-1, and that'll tell you that he's also not from around here. I'm pretty sure the game is supposed to give you a red herring, because you're not supposed to know where exactly he's from. But there will be a... There's an NPC that you have to make spawn a specific way, and she will give you assassination missions. And when the last assassination mission comes up, she will give you Ostrava's real name, because Ostrava's using a fake name at the moment. Let's see. Oh, there's something. Shards scraped off of the arc stones that are scattered around in each area. Sends the user back to the Nexus. Arc stones that the monumental entrusted to the elders have been forgotten, and now are left for the mice to gnaw at. It makes you wonder what arc stones are made of. I have no idea what an arc stone is made out of. It must be made out of cheese. And then the binding, you get that when you get here the first time. Symbol of those imprisoned to the Nexus. Having this ties you to the Nexus. Even if you lose your physical body, you cannot die, and your soul remains trapped in the Nexus. The Nexial binding sends the user back to the Nexus upon death, but all souls collected will be lost. I kind of want... I never noticed, but I don't think you can actually physically see the Nexial binding. From what it looks like, it's supposed to be bound to your leg. I say that because when you look at the Maiden in Black, when you look at one of her feet, you'll notice that she has an Nexial binding as well. Yeah, there it is. Same binding. She has one around her foot. So that's why I was thinking maybe they put one around my foot, but as you can see, my character wears very, very fashionable sandals. Anybody else have this binding? I think she's the only one who's so clearly... hers is the only one that's obvious. I don't think anybody here, with exception to him, is bound to the Nexus like I am. They all just sort of like... The Nexus allows anybody to enter it, apparently. The binding is just here to make me do the thing, otherwise I can't leave.
What do you want, Brute?
What do you want, Brute?
I have no use for miscreants like yourself. Away with you.
I'm not smart enough for him, unfortunately. Yeah, you need 10 intelligence to speak to him. Or no, not intelligence. I think it's magic. I always get this part mixed up. You need a specific amount of magic to speak to him, similar to Griggs of Venheim. And the same with Big Hat Logan. Logan is simply just Frake of another name. I need to remember how much of one stat he needs. I want to say it's like he's the magic requirement and the other guy is not. He's the magic and the attunement requirement. Yeah, you need magic of 10 to speak to him. It only... So, you got the little bit of dialogue he gives you because he thinks you're stupid. What do you want, brute? I want nothing to do with you. Alright, so, we got upgrades, so let's level up. Maiden controls inhumane souls. This power allows her to aid those who slay demons.
What is
Inhumane souls. So what kind of souls do I have then?
So be it.
She controls inhumane souls. So that means that she herself is literally a big giant vessel of souls?
Forth. Touch the demon inside me. Let these ownerless souls become thine own.
Interesting power she has with her ability to level me up.
As for me,
she has no dialogue. No matter what you do, she literally
flame.
just says, "As for me, I'm only here to
keep
tend
the
to the
candles
flames."
lit
You can
and
kill
serve
her,
the brave
but she gets
demons'
back up and
lairs
says,
who are
"I cannot
trapped
die." In fact, let's do that real quick, because it's just odd. She'll just die and then get back up. It's not really dying then, really. She just sort of like, she's sleeping. Don't worry, guys. She'll get back up. I'm not supposed to murder waifu. Don't murder waifu.
I'm sorry. I cannot die. Not while the Nexus binds me.
So she's bound very similar. I guess she's bound the same way to the Nexus as I am.
Thou seekest then touch. Soul of the mind, key to life's ether. Soul of the
Alright, just 10 intelligence to get one spell. Give myself a lot of HP, I guess.
So the world might be mended. So the world
More
might
endurance.
be mended.
Why not?
Art thou done? May thine strength help the world be mended.
Alright, let's read the stone while we're at it. A huge stone castle in the heart of the northern kingdom of Boletaria. So that telescope came from southern Boletaria. Hungry soldiers whose souls have been stolen by demons attack trespassers and terrible dragons nest here. And then the Phalanx's Arkstone. Past the huge Boletarian castle gates lies the cliff pathway, now a feeding ground for dragons, which leads to the inner ward where the knights live. Yep, so that's more or less what I thought it was. This is, we're not actually in Boletaria, the city of Boletaria, but we're actually in a castle. Like, it's like, the city's name, the capital city is Boletaria. The region is called Boletaria. But you're never really sure where exactly you're supposed to be. But it seems more likely you're just in a military state at that point. I think I need to take a bathroom break real quick. So I will be right back in a couple of minutes. BRB. Okay, and I'm back. So what to do now? We're gonna go to World 2. City of the Burrowers. Keepers of the huge tunnel. Most of the stubborn excavators who supported the soldiers of Boletaria had their souls taken. Lacking their own will, they mindlessly continue working. I should have mentioned it when I was up on the ramparts and the higher parts of the castle wall. You would have noticed a lot of trebuchets that were positioned on the top of the wall for throwing rocks. And you'll notice a lot of metal bins with a bunch of rocks sitting in them. And the metal bins, I think, let you know that they're from Stonefang Tunnel. And you'll see in a moment when I get to the Stonefang Tunnel that there are a couple of enemies here. Hey Vegeta. How you doing? There will be a couple enemies here that are from Boletaria. Just to let you know that Boletaria was receiving support from Stonefang in regards to material shipping and stuff like that. Like, if you run all the way over there, or here, let me actually put some armor on while I'm at it. Not the bag lady set. Oh, I forgot to throw things in the box. Whoops. Hold on a second. I forgot to do something here. Yeah, I said hi back to you, actually. I saw it. I guess you didn't see what I said. Or when I said hi, I said I just used Uso Duck. Or Uso Jin Duck. Alright, so let's dump all of this into the box. You got swallowed by his chat. Yeah, everybody goes to EMB's chat to watch him talk about Souls games.
Wait, what?
It's funny, he says best of luck to you twice in succession for some reason. I think that's... there we go. Now I can wear the whole thing. I'm using a broadsword because he said the broadsword was shit. Yes, like, no, I'm not using the broadsword to spite EMB. No. Why would I do that? Am I looking for things to complain about? No, I'm just looking for things to talk about. Like this, for example. I think, Franz, a German spy, actually mentioned this, but if you look at the arc stones, they all look different, usually. Some of the arc stones look a little bit different. Like, I think he said there was like an eyeball in one of them in one time when I watched one of his playthroughs. Give me some sharp stone, kid. Hey! Alright. I was gonna say, this pathway right here would have probably been the pathway they used to get to Boletaria. Just based on placement. But you can see, the pathway wasn't exactly that well constructed. It just sort of collapsed. It just sort of collapsed under its own weight. It's one of those things I never really think to look at. I always remember that it's over here, but I never think to talk about it. So this is probably the way, that road right there was probably the way that they connected to Boletaria. There's also a couple of areas over here. You can clearly hear a guy smashing on something over here somewhere, but you can't do anything about it at the moment. There's an area below you you can't get to yet. And then, of course, there's the filthy man. Same voice actor as Patches and Yurt. William Vanderpuye, I think is his name. Something like that. I can't remember his whole name. Or I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
It's a nice wee place.
Vanderpuye.
Townsfolk are busy
English actor.
Stone. And don't bother with old men like myself.
And he's featured in almost every single Wolf game.
I can get away with anything.
This game is pretty quick. The problem is that the reason it's quick is because the animations are kind of sloppy. Bloodborne in 3, though, I don't think this game would fit that. Because most of the bosses in this game don't have that kind of speed in mind. A lot of all the bosses in this game are super slow. They all move very slowly. They all move very disjointedly. So I don't think giving more speed will help with pacing in the boss fights. I'm not saying Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3 have bad speed, but I'm just saying Demon Souls, it wouldn't suit Demon Souls, I think. And then, of course, he sells, you know, basic shards and then a pickaxe.
You want to play? Well, you've got to pay.
I like that. You want to play? Well, you gotta pay. And then a or developer message here. Next enemy is susceptible to piercing attacks. You think they have terrible speed. You like how slow Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 and 2 feel? Kappa. Ah! I'm fine with Demon Souls speed. It's my favorite speed. Demon Souls speed. There's one guy up here, the fat minister. He always recognizes you before you even walk through the door. You feel it's slow? Your character moves really quickly. I don't know what else to say. My character moves really quickly. Animations are really fast. My animations are really fast. Can't say that about the enemies. Like, I literally killed 2 dudes with 2 ripostes within about 10 seconds. Dark Souls, I feel like, has a slower riposte animation because of it. I'm not really sure, though. I'd have to, like, test them side by side. You're comparing it to the speed of Bloodborne? Well, that's not even fair. Like, Bloodborne is built on a completely different engine than Demon Souls. Like, Demon Souls' engine is barely working at best. Bloodborne's is pretty consistent, I think. Unless I'm mistaken, maybe Bloodborne is using the same engine, but a different iteration. You mean like how quick enemies are? Well, yeah, but that's because they were both built... Demon Souls and Bloodborne are built with different philosophies in mind. They both use the same basic combat system, but Bloodborne is built around speed. Demon Souls isn't. Bloodborne was built around being flashy and fast and very visceral. Well, Demon Souls is very methodical and slow-paced in comparison. Enemies move very slowly in this game. A lot of enemies don't have flurry attacks, stuff like that. Damn, this weapon is kind of bunk. Well, that's probably because it's still not that upgraded. Whatever, Ian B doesn't know what he's talking about. I think the last time I used a broadsword... You like the slow pace. Yeah, that's... Yeah, because Demon Souls is built around the concept that you're going to get killed in a couple of hits. So they want to instill in the player the idea of being very cautious. Bloodborne's the same way, but in a different style, I guess. Because, you know, it's the same thing. You die in like 1 or 2 hits in Bloodborne, just like you would in Demon Souls. But you have to go about the combat in a different way. You gotta be dodgy. You can't guard. They disincentivize. You can't even guard at all in that game, with exception to like the shitty shields that they give you. They even mock you for trying to use the shield. They're very, very deliberate about removing the shield. Oh shit, he's gonna break the boxes. If you hear him laugh, the moment I heard him laugh, I knew he was gonna throw a fireball. Just too fast for you? I can understand that. They have really cool worlds, but the speed is something that I can never get my head around. Dark Souls 3, I can get my head around that speed, because It felt like they fixed the issues that I had with the lock-on system in that game. With maybe the random lock-on to some enemies that you didn't intend to. But I think the way that they placed enemies in that game made it easier for the lock-on to do what it was supposed to. Like, in Dark Souls 2, it was when they started figuring out that people wanted to be able to run around. You did a Knuckles run and farmed for like 2 hours to get one. Yeah, that's usually how it is. I never even think about weapons that they drop. Did you do a headbutt run? Did you do Ouroboros' headbutt run? That would have been a cool idea. But what I'm trying to think is, Dark Souls 2, they recognize that when you lock onto a boss, or lock onto an enemy, here, watch. You can't run in relation to the enemy. I'm holding the circle button down now. And for some reason, you just can't run strafe. But in Dark Souls 2, they figured out people wanted to do that. They learned people wanted to be able to run in relative lock-on to an enemy. Dark Souls 3, I think, does it the best. Because there's like a stop-and-go kind of sluggishness to this game. Like, you can run in front to the enemy, like this. You can run towards the enemy, but you can't run away from the enemy when you're locked on. You can only do it when you're unlocked. Bloodborne doesn't do it very well. Bloodborne doesn't have that running mechanic from what I think about it. Headbutt doesn't do damage. Buff, you have to buff the Iron Knuckle. That's the only way it would do damage. So, like, use a light weapon or a cursed weapon or something, you'd be doing pretty good damage. You just want 3 with this speed and it'd be good. It would be cool if it did, but yeah, the game just... Dark Souls 3 has Bloodborne speed, and a lot of the enemies just don't take into account that speed. Or a lot of the enemies abuse that speed, almost to the detriment of any other combat other than dodge. A lot of enemies in that game abuse the speed. Like the Lothric Knights. I hate those enemies so much because of just how fast they are. A guy in that amount of armor shouldn't be that fast. They're so fast. Doesn't make any sense to me. Trying to parry him at least once. Parry? There we go. Scrutinize my shit up? Yeah, Joago, that's what I'm doing. I was watching EMB earlier, because he was doing just some rando Demon Souls run. I feel like I would never get burned out on this game until I get burnt out on this game. It's kind of weird. I don't get burnt out until I get burnt out. That's what I should have said. Ah, there's the Demon Souls coming back. What? You want to lock onto an enemy in front of you? Nah, let's just lock onto the dude right behind you. Perfect. That was the game automatically locking on. You would play this if it were on PC. I'd play it if it had a proper 60 FPS, definitely. But I don't think anybody can get this game to run at 60 FPS. I'm pretty sure game speed is tied to FPS in this. So if you made it faster, the game would be faster. Because they didn't know what they were doing when they programmed this. I'll be honest. I feel like the devs didn't know what they were doing with this engine. Yeah, if you have a decent CPU, you can definitely play it on PC with the emulator. I think From Software didn't know what they were doing when they programmed this game. Because there's a lot of stuff in this game that shows they didn't know how to reconcile a lot of things. Specifically physics objects. And how when you roll through boxes, the frame rate tanks. You don't care about 60 FPS, you just don't want it to have a PS3 hooked up because of limited physical space. Ah, I got you. I don't have to worry about that. My room's kind of sizable. I got my PS3 hooked up next to my TV. I'm not playing it via my computer. Though, you know, I'm capturing it through my computer, but I'm using my TV to play it. I could use my OBS. I have one of those fancy smanchy internal capture cards, so the delay is a little bit lower. Oh yeah, so getting back to Boletaria and Stonefang's connection, you'll notice a lot of just carts everywhere. I don't understand what these are. Do you keep your flat or stood up? Mine stood up. There's a lot of carts with just like a lot of nothing in them. It's kind of weird. And then of course the rocks that I was talking about, they're all in these boxes. Rocks and boxes. There's a dragon stone shard over there. Do I want to get it? I guess so. I don't really need it, but I can get it. I don't like these lizards because they can just clip through things. These guys can, yeah, do that. Plus, he keeps locking. My character keeps locking on to stuff. There you go. It's funny. You can throw these lizards down there into the lava. They'll die from it. Even though these guys are like literally lava incarnate. They die from lava. And then these flame sword dudes are kind of funny. There's only like a handful of them in the entire level. They have possibility of dropping a bastard sword though. That's kind of cool, I guess. Also, you gotta remember when you try to parry enemies on the steps, you gotta do it like this, horizontally, not vertically. Because if there's like an incline, for some reason the riposte sometimes doesn't work. You always keep it flat. Everyone I've spoken to has had a PS3 problem. Has had it stood up. Really? I've never had any problem with it. It's kind of weird. I wonder if it's like the fear of it knocking over or something, or like what, heat displacement? It's like, oh, the thing can't display or dissipate heat properly because it's standing up. Though you're supposed, though that's why I'm standing it up. It's supposed to dissipate heat properly that way. I don't know. I'm just talking at that point. Get this large shard, I guess. I like the fact that I'm actually sitting in the middle of a smithing area. These guys are in the middle of making weapons, probably. A lot of tongs and stuff like that set up here. No actual weapons, though. It's kind of... There's one. Yeah, you actually see a longsword. It's not a broadsword, because I have a broadsword in my hand. Wide blade. Longswords just have longer blades. And a lot of weapons that are just set up here like they're ready. There's a falchion right there. There's a short sword. There's an estoc. And then there's another longsword. Your evidence is completely anecdotal? Okay. But yeah, there's a flume for making fire even hotter. Because sometimes the melting point for stuff... I know you gotta get it really, really hot to get impurities out of metal. So if we go over here, get a couple of items while we're at it. Great club and a couple of souls. Oh, I forgot to pick up that melting stone. Or the melt stone that was over here, so let's get it too. Have you done an all achievement playthrough? I've already got... I did that actually. My, there was like this really long playthrough that I did a while back. Hey, I got another shard of melt stone. Nice. I did it like a month ago. So that way I could get the platinum trophy. Alright, now we're gonna run back up. Can I wear... Yeah, I can pick up the rest of the stuff, so at least I don't have to worry about that. You must have missed it. Yeah, I imagine you did. I didn't upload it to YouTube or anything. It should still be in my VODs. I felt like it was kind of like one of those kind of runs. Like, I usually just upload my no-death runs to YouTube. I should get more casual sometimes about this stuff. Oh, yeah, it only took me like an hour and a half to get it. I've noticed as of late on the Demon Souls subreddit, a lot of people have been posting how they get the pure black or the pure blade stone now. I like that. That is kind of like a trial of rights, or like a passage of like a manhood kind of thing for Demon Souls runs. Dang it, I was trying to bait the other one, but that didn't work. He can go through corners, so you gotta be very careful. There we go. I'm getting the item right here. I normally never get this item. It's just a stone. When is your blade stone gonna drop? Oh, somebody figured out that it's actually more of... You are in pure black world, right? You're not just like a shade above it, right? You're actually in pure black world. Because world tendency has a major effect on the drop rate for that thing. Okay, just making sure. Like, if you're like +2 black world, not plus negative. I mean to say -3. -3 is, well, I call it -3. The game actually calls it like -200. If you're in -200, technically, you're in pure black world. If you're in +200, you're in pure white world. Dark Souls uses the same mechanic for the... It's weird. Dark Souls uses world tendency as the Gravelord mechanic. The way that it just flips them on. You're in 0, but when you hit -200, you get Gravelorded. It's really annoying how when you want to lock onto an enemy here. Is it still possible to get it in pure white? Very, very improbable. It's possible, but it's very improbable. The drop rate for that thing just goes out the window the moment you're not in pure black. I'll need to post a link about it, because somebody named Illusory Wall on the Demon Souls subreddit posted a write-up about it. They were actually the one who answered my question about drop mechanic in the Valley of Defilement. I think Gibbed was actually talking about it in EMB's chat. He didn't even mention me, but I was the one who actually brought that up. I thought it was funny that I walk right into EMB's chat and they're talking about it. It's like, huh, small world. Gibbed was the one who helped Illusory Wall figure that out, though. And I was the one who originally asked the question, because, like, Milty Milt, the other Demon Souls streamer that I have a lot of interactions with, he and I were talking about that mechanic. His idea about the mechanic was better than mine. So I posed both ideas, and it turns out his idea was the right one. It's like, that's neat. But I wasn't expecting anybody to respond to it in the way that Illusory did. I was very surprised by that. I didn't think anybody read the Demon Souls subreddit like that. Because, you know, it's Demon Souls. Demon Souls is like the game nobody cares about, really. In comparison to, like, Dark Souls. What's with the inconsistent repose damage? Oh, from what it looks like, specific weapons affect that. I don't know what it is about it, DA, but it seems like a specific weapon type affects the damage type. I don't know. I've yet to see it. I've yet to see anybody respond to it. But yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I've been wondering about that one for ages. It's a question that I've had since I started doing no-death runs. Why is it that sometimes I don't do my full riposte damage? Because, yeah, you saw what happened in the video. I got partial riposte damage 2 times in a row, and then I got full riposte damage the other 2 times. So I wouldn't kill an enemy in 1 hit because of it. It was weird. Does it only happen when they're at full HP? No, it doesn't, because I've been constantly getting full riposte damage right now. It's just like one of those mechanics that I've noticed, and nobody has given me a pretty good explanation for it. I don't have any experience when it comes to data mining, so I can't really say I've looked at the numbers or anything, or even know how to look at the numbers. And it's just like one of those weird things that I don't know anything about. And it happens in World 2 and in World 4. Yeah, it's a quality build. This weapon benefits really well. This weapon has a lot of good quirks to make for quality. Because the weapon was already like a strength-based weapon, kind of. Like, the weapon doesn't really have overall good scaling until you make it a quality weapon. I mean, technically, I don't think it can be a crushing weapon, because this is a sharp weapon, for example. You use a sharp stone. It doesn't use hard stone like most of the other weapons would. So I don't think you can actually make this a crushing weapon. It would be kind of interesting. Maybe the uneven ground? Well, no, that's the thing. I fight them on solid surfaces. I killed... It was the miners back there at the very, very big room at the beginning near the dog ambush. I killed 3 of the exact same enemies. They all have the same exact health pool. But for some reason, some of them just took less damage when I riposted them. So I want to figure out what the heck the math... Somebody has to know something about the math used to calculate riposte damage in this game. It's a really weird mechanic. Give me your crescent axe? Nope. Yeah, so yeah, here's another, fat guy. A lot of fat guys in this level. 3 of them, I think. Stone. I think I've gotten pretty much almost all the items with exception of a couple up here. I noticed there was one thing... What else? What else was there to notice? You'll notice now that I'm getting into an area that's covered in cobwebs. You got 2 crescent axes, 1 at a time and 2-1. Man, I've never seen that happen to me before. I've only ever seen 1 enemy drop a crescent axe the entire run. It's usually never 2 enemies. Yeah, but there are cobwebs everywhere. And then this will be the first time you actually see spider stone right here. Is there anything unique about spider stone written on it? A shard of fabric-like transparent ore, mainly used to enhance bows. Kind of makes me think, did you finish the run with the guillotine axe? No, I died. I fell off a ledge. It was really sad, to say the least. I was trying to get down to Flame Lurker, the fast way, but I fucked it up. And I fell off a ledge. I know, right? It's a freaking guillotine axe. You don't get guillotine axes to drop that often. Alright, so... Fun fact about the armored spider. If I'm not wearing the Thief's Ring when I walk in, he already sees me. He's already firing at you the moment you walk in the door. You can see him right here. That's the benefit of him. He's already spawned, or maybe he, she, I don't know. The boss is already there. If you're not wearing the Thief's Ring, it sees you immediately when you enter. You're not sure how a bow being sticky would make it better. It makes it a lighter bow. I don't really know why it makes it a lighter bow, or how making it a lighter bow makes it better, but it apparently changes its scaling, and sticky compound bow, bar none, is the most strongest physical bow in the game. Because it just has that good a scaling. Bows, for some reason, have a ridiculously high S scale. I never really understood that. You can farm a crystal lizard to get some sticky, you know, like spider stone. It's even better than the white bow, yes. Quantifiably, it's even better. Because the white bow, it has decent scaling, but it's harder to farm, or it's harder to get the materials for the white bow, when in actuality, it takes even less effort to get a sticky compound bow than it does the white bow to +5. So anyway, if I'm not wearing the Thief's Ring, you get seen, and he's going to start throwing fireballs or spiderweb at you the moment you walk in. But because I'm wearing the Thief's Ring, it takes about until I'm halfway up the tunnel before he actually notices me. I'm going to say she. Let's just assume it's a she. But there's only one spider in the entire level, so it's kind of weird. Oh, I got hit. Damn it. That's fine. Another fireball. Fastest way to deal with it is to get in its face and roll attack into it. Also, I need to take my armor off when I fight her. That way, I have enough stamina to finish her off. There. Fastest way to kill her. Because if you shoot her with magic, it'll just shoot you back with fireballs and stuff. Yeah, you can pick up the white bow you pick up the white bow near the Black Phantom. But there's a crystal lizard in 2-1 that you can farm specifically for spider stone. If you kill it 4 times, you'll get enough to at least get a +4. You won't ever get enough for a +5 from him alone. That fight was more bearable to watch than EMB's. Yes, because EMB doesn't play this game in the same way that I do. I'm more of a try-hard optimizer. He's more like a guy who does loresmith. Professional loresmith EMB. I'm not complaining. It's just that's the nature of our streams. I'm trying to be optimized with AF. He just sort of like goes through the game casually. There's a guy down here that has a pretty good drop on him, but you gotta kill a bunch of dudes to get to him. Let me lure one of these guys over here and kill him. Nice, I one-shot him. I like EMB streams though, he's pretty chill. Not me though, I'm pretty salty when it comes to these kind of things. I'm a salty potato. Spy's your favorite DS player? I can understand that. Spy's a pretty cool dude too. He has like a level of informativeness to his stream that is much higher than Marcus's, I think. There we go. Like for one, I don't think Marcus is the type of dude who likes to farm. I will farm because it'll give me a better weapon. It makes things a lot easier to walk through. Hey, look! I didn't do full damage? Let me double check that. Yeah, that's what it is. I didn't do full damage. That was what I was just talking about. I didn't kill him in one hit. Well, I killed the other guy in one hit. See? Just what I was talking about the other day. You just don't do full damage sometimes. It's really weird. Alright, we're gonna reload this real quick. I'm gonna kill that lizard again. Because, this is a secret from me to chat, but clearstone weapons are the easiest to make. They are the fastest to make, they're the most reliable. Quality weapon, best weapon. Except with exception. Does the broadsword have direct damage? Don't think so. I don't think the broadsword has direct damage. It's just, I think, the only thing that makes it weird is that it's a broadsword, so it does bleed. Kind of like the spiral rapier that bleeds. It's really just a strange mechanic that they put onto the weapon. Like in subsequent Souls games, the broadswords is, like kept treated like a straight sword. A lesser version of a straight sword. Chunk of hardstone? Nice. Weird. For some reason, these respawn. All the axes have direct damage, though. Some of the clubs have... all the clubs have direct damage. What else has direct damage? A couple of weird weapons have direct damage. Like, I'm pretty sure the crescent axe has direct damage, too. Which one would be better? Super Slim or regular PS3? I have the Slim. I've never used the Super Slim, so I can't really tell you if one's better or not. The Slim hasn't given me any trouble. I think the only thing that I have trouble with is capturing, because for some reason the PS3 was HDMI copyright protected, so you had to use a bunch of workarounds just to capture footage for it. Oh, Super Slim or Slim. Okay. I've never used the Super Slim. The only one I've ever used is Slim. Anybody in chat have a Super Slim? And doesn't feel like, it feels like coming out of lurk? I don't know. This is the only PS3 I've ever owned. I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't given me death yet. I'm waiting for it. If anything, my PS4 sounds like it would die every time. It's like every time I turn my PS4 on and play Bloodborne, it sounds like a jumbo jet. Filling up my room. Did you see what I said about spacing? I was thinking maybe it's your spacing. Oh, that's what you meant. I wonder if that is what it is. I don't know. That was a concept that I had thought about before, but I've never been able to, you know, consistently test that. So what you're saying is when I riposte the enemy, I need to be standing a specific direction and distance from them. I can try that. There's a couple of more dudes that I can try it on, actually. I'll have to intentionally do some weird stuff, but I think I can get it to work. Alright, I normally don't pick items up, so I'm just gonna pick them up anyway. Hey, I forgot that was over here. Nice. These guys are your Greystone farm. You farm these guys for Greystone. They're the most consistent way to get it. Just a theory? Yeah, I mean, it's a theory. It's a better theory than what I was thinking, which is nothing. I literally have nothing. And this is the only guaranteed shard of Greystone drop right here. There's a chunk down here too, and it is the only guaranteed chunk of Greystone in the entire game. Kind of makes you wonder why they did it like that, considering Clearstone is so easy to farm in this game. Every Crystal Lizard in 2-2 drops some. You hate farming those rockworms. Yeah, me too. That's why I never do crushing weapons. They're just not worth farming for, in my opinion. You gotta do a lot of work to get one of those weapons. When all you have to do here is kill a couple of lizards and respawn them. That's really all you have to do. I think that's most of the items down here. I'm gonna collect all the items, bone out or shard out, and then come back. I always have trouble trying to figure out how to do this farming run easily and consistently. Oh wait, that's the other shard of Greystone right there. Whoops. I forgot about this one. Yeah, the other drop. I forgot. There's 2 drops for Greystone. My bad. Here's Patches.
Oh, you're not mad like the rest, are you?
It's one of those materials I'll allow myself to dupe. Yeah, I can understand that. Duping I allow in certain circumstances.
Call me Patches. Oh, see that treasure?
I don't allow. I used to allow duping on permadeath runs because, in all honesty, there was no danger originally for me to farm Clearstone, but then I died once farming, so I said no more duping because I can actually die farming. So anyway, we'll go over here and pick up this club.
My
It's
apologies.
just a club.
It's just not your day. As promised, the treasure is all yours. If you survive, that is. Good luck to you.
So let's just watch Patches real quick. He's going to run to a specific spot. He's going to run up here above me and pick that item up. So we'll get the club, and then he breaks something because it collides with him. We'll just break the boxes here. It's the fastest way to get out. And then climb back up here. When we climb back up here, he's going to figure out, hey, you got out somehow. So he'll give me the ring to shut me up.
You! How did you do that? Worry not. The treasure is all yours.
What a nice guy, giving me a treasure like this. He must be my best friend.
You certainly showed them, didn't you? Here it is. The treasure. Safe and sound. Go on. Take it. Take it.
I'm trying to remember the name of the scientific name for these bugs. But these bear bugs are actually based off of real insects. But I don't remember what they're called specifically. They're like Verita something or other. They have a very, very specific name that starts with a V. Oh, I forgot to get one item. Whoops. There should be a dropping with Dragonstone somewhere around here. It's like below me, I think. Yeah, there it is. We just walk off right here, get it. There's a crystal lizard just like right underneath me here that will run away. There he is. He's gonna try to run away, but I can get him. Got him. I gotta be fast though, because I'm not wearing the thief's ring. These bear bugs that fly recognize you a lot faster. Oh yeah, the flame res is really good, especially against flame lurker, because a lot of his attacks are mostly fire based. Like his physical attacks do a lot of fire damage as well as physical damage. But that ring is usually pretty good against him. I can't say it's good against Dragon God's fire attack, because I've never really used it against him. But I think it's pretty good overall. Man, these guys are on me quick. Alright, got that chunk. So let's just Arcstone Shard out of here. Like, overall, I think Demon Souls has pretty much one of the most reliable weapon sets to choose from. There's a lot of weapons in this game. Most of them are really good. A lot of the rings in this game are really good if you need them. A lot of utility available to you.
I can forge.
So let's upgrade. I need 3 more chunks. There's one NPC that drops 3 chunks that I can kill real quick. So it's not like I'm what's the word? I'm starved for chunks. Deposit everything. Prevented you from dying. You had to stop sprinting though. Oh yeah, that's right. Because if you're running in the middle of the attack, you take counter damage. Crisp Blade, Great Axe. So many things that you just pick up. Alright. Drop one of the flame resist rings. I'll keep all the other rings on me because they're really useful. I generally try to keep my rings on me because a lot of the rings I just don't use because most of the time you're going to get poisoned anyway, so you might as well just carry a lot of grass in the meantime instead. Alright, so I'm going to go back to World 2 and continue picking up all the stuff. Let's use... So Hard Demon Soul can be used for a spell or the Lava Bow. I don't need the Lava Bow or the spells, so I'm just going to use it.
Thou seekest soul power, dost thou not? Then touch the demon inside me. Soul of the mind,
Level up
key
a
to
bit.
life's ether. Soul of the lost, withdrawn from its vessel.
Start giving myself more int.
Strength be granted so the
That way I'll
world
be able to
might
use light weapon, because that's the spell I'm going to use this time. What's your favorite area? Yours is World 4? Mine's between World 3 and World 5. Well, actually, I more or less just like all the levels a lot. But World 3 has that creepy ambiance. And then so does... I like the creepy levels, is what I'm saying for this game. I like the horror-themed. Especially 3 and 5, because of how evil they are intrinsically. Whereas World 5 is naturally man-made evil. World 3 is like this weird... Or no, what is it? No, that's not it. It's... I remembered Miyazaki gave an interview to some magazine at some point. Somebody described the themes of evil that dealt with those levels and how both levels had a specific theme of evil in mind. And I'm getting a phone call. Give me just a second. Okay, I'm going to have to cut the stream short here. I'm going to be going out to dinner. I'm going to be coming back. It'll probably be in an hour or two. So, I'll meet you guys back here in like two hours. If you guys are still around. But yeah, sorry about that.